Mitch McConnell, no secret, wants to be Senate Majority Leader again. And he sees Donald Trump, not the Democrats, as his chief obstacle. This tension is not new, but the midterm campaign calendar is bringing it into sharper focus as McConnell tries to block Trump allies in several big Senate races. McConnell wanted Maryland Governor Larry Hogan to run for Senate. Hogan last week said no. And McConnell wants Arizona Governor Doug Ducey to run. Ducey will decide soon, but is said by close friends to be leaning no. Both governors have a very dim view of Donald Trump, and vice versa. Jonathan Martin of the New York Times writes this of the McConnell strategy. It's all aimed at recapturing the Senate majority, but the election also represents what could be Republicans' last chance to reverse the spread of Trumpism before it fully consumes their party. Great reporters are back with us. And to that point, that is how McConnell sees it. He looks across the chamber at the House and sees the rise of the Trump allies, doesn't like it from a policy perspective, from a how they conduct themselves perspective, and he's worried that's going to come to him.
Yes, he's worried that's going to come to him, but let's be clear. His number one goal is getting the majority back and being majority leader. And a big part of why he doesn't like Trump and Trumpism is because he sees that as an obstacle to attaining that goal. I mean, there is a philosophical part of it, but it seems to be much more of the power part of it. And the reason is because he's lived this before, a different set of obstacles back when the Tea Party was big, but different, similar dynamics in that to win a Senate seat in a purple state, you need a candidate on the Republican side who appeals more to the middle. It's not the House. The districts are not drawn that way. That's just not the way it is. And so he has lived two cycles of not getting the majority back because he's had conservative, at that time it was Tea Party, this time there will be Trump-backed conservatives who can't win the state. That is the number one thing, and he is up against a former president who is making it incredibly personal. We all got emails from the Trump campaign last night specifically going after the Republican leader, Mitch McConnell, asking for money, saying, let's try to get rid of Mitch McConnell. Not Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell.
Right. In a midterm election year where Republicans, you would think, knowing the wind is at their back, just figure out, settle our family feuds quietly and publicly.
Exactly.
But so this is what Jay Mart writes in his piece in the Times. In conversations with senators and would-be senators, Mr. McConnell is blunt about the damage he believes Mr. Trump has done to the GOP. Privately, he has declared he won't let unelectable goofballs win Republican primaries. This is one of the reasons, Phil, he wants Governor Ducey to run in Arizona. Arizona could be, in 2022, what you mentioned, the Tea Party, what Missouri was back in 2014, where you get a candidate in a 50-50 state. Missouri's no longer 50-50. It wasn't even 50-50 then, really. It was starting to trend away. But you get a candidate in a state where there are enough Democrats, especially if the independents break. That's McConnell's worry as he pursues power. But Ducey's one of the guys Trump has gone after hard. The question is, do you personally want to deal with that? And
I think to some degree, perhaps, he might not say it publicly, but I think Republicans might want to see that actually play out, right? They want to test that case. They want to see, because, and Jay Mart actually hits at this a couple of times in the piece in a very smart manner, of that will determine, if Ducey runs and wins, that is a huge shot across the bow for Trumpism, to where more Republicans might be willing to stand up and say some of the things that so many of them tell us behind the scenes but are terrified to say publicly. I think Dana hits the most critical point here. You cannot overstate the lessons learned from Sharon Angle and Todd Akin and that witch lady from Delaware, whatever. Christine O'Donnell. Because for McConnell, that informs everything he does. And you look at it, he's not going after all Trump-backed candidates, right? His willingness to accept, accommodate, and endorse Herschel Walker, I think, surprised some of us. But it's also reality. He looked at the numbers, he has the numbers, and realizes that's the best shot they believe they have in the state of Georgia to win, to knock off Raphael Warnock. When he looks around and sees other potential candidates, particularly the roster in Arizona, he says, I can't win that race, or I very likely may not win that race with that candidate. I need to figure out a way to get it out. This is what I'm going to do to try and make that.
Right, and so you look at this map. The Senate race is up in 2022, 34 seats up, 14 Democrat-held seats, 20 GOP seats. The Democrats are lucky. They're not defending any states that Trump won. So that helps you in this campaign year. So if you're McConnell, you're worried maybe we're going to lose Pennsylvania. Maybe it's possible we lose somewhere else. So can we get a pickup? That's why he wanted Hogan to run, right? So you have a state like Maryland where you have a popular Republican governor. You want him to run to see if you can pick one up. Listen to Governor Hogan when he says, nope.
I think they're, sometimes focused on the wrong things, not just being a roadblock to Biden. We want to make sure that we do stand up and speak out. But I'm concerned that they're focusing too much on looking at the past and trying to relitigate the last election and arguing about things instead of having a positive, hopeful vision for America.
So his point, why run now when so many Republicans are talking about Trump's big lie and spreading Trump's big lie? Now, he also perhaps has presidential ambitions. He made the call, I'm not getting on the ballot this year, having Trump beat me up, which could, if you're going to be a Republican, hurt your future.
And this could be a good year for Republicans. I mean, certainly even Democrats are acknowledging that. But when you look at the map, take states like Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. There's also a really important argument that's being made here by both political parties about 2024 and states that are essentially could be in play in 2024 and why you need to have strong candidates run strong ground games in those states heading into that next presidential election. So you have those resources built up in order to have 2024 and be able to challenge Joe Biden.
Be a great 2022 to do Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Georgia, Arizona. Just keep rotating. You'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot about this year and what's to come.